you also, I thought this was, two rules I had never heard, Bill. I don't know about you. The 70% rule and the proximity to greatness rule.
Yeah. That's just being there, man. Just being there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the 70% too, I just think that's such a huge thing because I feel like so many people are ready for it. They're ready to go, but they're just something's holding them back.
Welcome everybody to another week of Wealth Wisdom, where we're helping you build wealth and legacy.
Companies are like an organism trying to survive.
It's always a risk when you're investing in a company that's purely tied to someone's brand.
45% of Americans have gone into debt for a Disney trip. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wealth Wisdom. I'm Justin Obi, and with me is Bill Ryan, my amazing co-host and co-founder of Fox Hill Wealth Management. Today, we're welcoming back for the first time ever, good friend of the pod, Bruce the producer, aka Bruce Sinclair, aka Bruce Can Do It. Bruce can get it done. Yeah. So if you listen to the last show, we had to have Bruce back on the show for part 2. It was just a blast having him on the last episode. So I think that was 3 episodes ago, but make sure you watch that and then come back to this show. But Bruce runs his media and film production business, Honor Rebel Media, and has worked with tons of talented people. I mean, there's a huge list: Kevin Garnett, Mark Levin, Issa Rae, DJ Envy, members of the Locks, I think, LeBron James's crew.
I was going to say, I worked on LeBron James's film. I haven't gotten to work with LeBron James yet. And even though I'm a Jordan era guy, so to speak, LeBron's the GOAT. I'm all the way LeBron.
Yeah, but, huge list of experience, and it's just a pleasure to have you back on the show.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for being here again.
Personally, don't think he's quite taken Jordan, but I could argue about that for a long time. But
I have thoughts. We talked about. I have some contrarian thoughts on the Jordan. So we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah, we should get into that. No, but I mean, so if you missed last show with Bruce, we discussed a lot of great things, lessons for aspiring artists and entrepreneurs. Adaptability, I think that was one thing you said was one of the most valuable skills you can have. Hard work, the value of hard work, putting in that effort, being honorable, authentic, having integrity in everything you're doing. You also, I thought this was, 2 rules I had never heard, Bill. I don't know about you. The 70% rule and the proximity to greatness rule.
That's just being there, man. Just being there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the 70% too, I just think that's such a huge thing because I feel like so many people are ready for it. They're ready to go, but they're just something's holding them back. And they start their own business and things like that. They usually wait a year or 2 longer than they really even need to.
There's
waiting. So that's the thing. You want to jump in. Yeah. You'll figure the stuff out. There's always going to be stuff you don't know. It's inevitable. So you have to
get in there and see what the stuff is. We were talking about that earlier. You prepare high school, college, you study for the test, you go over everything, like the 14 points you're sure are going to be there. And then the 15th point is there and you're like, So figure it out. You know what I mean? Just the same thing you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go dig through your brain. Figure it out, man. Get your hands dirty, get in the field, get in the mud, whatever the thing is.
That's it.
Doing it. And then the pertinent, I feel like theory, I'm a tactile person. I have to do it. Like, you can tell me that the red button does this all day, but until I touch the red button and see how long the reaction time is, all of that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
you got to learn by doing.
You prepare for things that aren't there, but if you're in the field, the one thing you've been worrying about, you're like, that's definitely going to happen. That doesn't happen. And then this other thing that you never considered happens. And now you got to fix it right there on the spot. And all the studying and the, and I'm not saying, I was never a great student, but I'm not saying you don't study and you don't do any of that. It's just that,
it will only take you so far. That's the thing. Like, it's, you can you can be a professional, whatever you want to call it, student, right? But you got to be out in the field. That's why doctors, nurses, right? They go to school, but then they also have, I forget what it's called, right? But where they basically have to work, right?
Residency. Yeah,
They have
residency.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
They have to work as part of their education, right? So
You
they have to
gotta,
have that on the job training because, like you said, stuff just comes up.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. It just comes up. It's
right.
just, yeah.
You can't go pull out the book then. Like,
Yeah,
oh wait,
exactly.
you're bleeding out. Let me go get my medical book. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's not how that works. But Jim,
I actually think I remember starting my first company. I was 22, and just being naive, like to a certain degree. We had prepared a lot before launching it, but also there was this kind of beautiful piece of being naive that I'm not sure I would have done it if I had known everything. Right? Yeah, you're like, so I think there's a lot to that too. It's like there's a beautiful night, just piece of being like not knowing everything. So like that 70% is kind of perfect. I'd never heard that.
Yeah, that's what Jensen Huang said. He goes, "I would never have started NVIDIA if I knew how tough it would be looking back." He goes, "I never would have done it." And this guy's worth.
Payoff, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's always about the payoff.
And this is a billionaire. You know what I mean? A guy who has
yeah.
essentially one of the most successful companies in history.
Yeah.
And he's saying, he goes, "I don't know if I would have done it looking back."
And that's that fear factor. Absolutely.
And imagine if he hadn't. That's insane. I mean, NVIDIA is literally, I would argue, pulling along the market right now with all these
the technology
I mean,
stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Bill, just the past couple of weeks, like you've had numerous companies announce partnerships with NVIDIA, or NVIDIA is buying into OpenAI, for example, or Intel suddenly makes this big comeback simply because of these partnerships with NVIDIA. So,
and he almost didn't do it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
His daughter, like now, her company is like skyrocketing, right? Because she did something ancillary to her dad's chip, and like
I'm not familiar with it at all. No, I don't know. Yeah, I'll definitely look that up.
I forget her name, but
I don't know.
She did something ancillary to dad, and her company took off. It's like that's what it is, generational wealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to. That could be that should be another episode there. I think that, Bill, I think you should, talk about generational wealth, because there's statistics on the first generation being the one to make the money in most cases. The second generation maintains, and usually the third generation squanders. Is that right, Bill?
My buddy has.
I believe that is the case. Yeah, I mean it's.
Yeah, so like, how do you get around that?
My buddy always has this great quote. I'll text it. I don't want to butcher it. I'll have him send it to me, and I'll text it. I'll email it to you guys later. But it's just that. It's like basically the grandpa walked so the son could drive. The son drove, and his grandson could fly. And then the great grandson blows it all, and he's back to walking. And it's like, but I don't want to. I'll get the actual quote from my buddy.
Yeah, no, I think it is a real thing. No, absolutely. So we should do a whole show about generational wealth.
That quote too. It's like hard times make tough men.
Yeah,
tough men make soft times. Soft times make hard times. You know what I mean? Or something. I forget. I forget what the exact quote is.
Hard times make hard men.
That's what I started it with, though. That's what I'm saying.
No, I know, but it's a full circle, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because it has to go back. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I was just connecting the
That's
final
the quote,
dot.
my buddy. Yeah. He said my buddy like lives by it. He's like, every time he's being hard on his kids, he's like, no, because dude.
Yeah. If you think about it, I mean, once you've made the money, you don't want to grow it anymore, right? And then you're not adapting, you're not doing, you're not in the mud anymore, trying to, and then you're just living off the money, and then you're used to spending, not used to making, So
yeah, so I think the question there is, how do you instill that work ethic and those values into your children, and then have
it's crazy. Same buddy. We were talking this morning. I'm up at the crack every day for no reason.
Dude, I've been up since 4.
Yeah, and I got
call me next time.
You are also up at ridiculous hours, and sometimes we end up on the phone. But no, it's just that I watched my parents. My dad was the 12-hour day guy, weekend job. You know what I mean? So I watched that, and then he would come home at the end of the week on Friday night, and he'd have a 6-pack of beer, and we'd have pizza, and so I understood work hard, play hard. Or that's what I think I've taken it to.
Yeah.
Work hard, play hard. My dad made sure everything was taken care of. He worked, and then when my mom started working, like they were people that worked really hard, paid all their bills, took care of their household, and then enjoyed themselves with what was left, right? And you just watch that. A certain amount comes from osmosis, you just watch and you're like, okay, that's the blueprint. That's what I do, at least to get there, right? And then you go through life and you figure out some more things and you add on and you mix in different ingredients and you get what you get. You get where you can. I'm trying, at least for me. It's lead by example kind of thing, right? Because, say I hope that my kids are looking at me and going, yeah, my dad kills himself. He kicks his ass every day. Sometimes he has to travel and go away for a week or two because I'm shooting a movie. And then I come back and I'm living room dad, right? I'm wrestling with them. I give them everything I can. And then I talk to them about what I did and where I was and why I was there. And you just hope it sticks, right? You just hope it sticks. You lead by example. And you just hope it sticks. And luckily I had good examples and it stuck. My brother, we had good examples and it stuck. And hoping to pass it down.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. You got to be a role model. I think that's true in business too. As your team, the leader has to be the role model they set the tone, right? They set the pace of the company.
Yes.
In both personal and in business. I think it's true. Looking back, Bruce, let's just jump into it and just as you've looked back just on your early career, what's been like a mistake or failure that kind of taught you a valuable lesson or one of the most valuable lessons? Just I think that's a perfect transition into that.
Yeah. I think, and I'm a vocal person, right? I'm always vocal. I've always been a vocal person, but always be vocal, right? There was a short period when I'm in these rooms, right? And I'm still a little awestruck, right? With perfect example, Kevin Hart. This is in his early days. He's like a megastar now, right? We were shooting, this is the show with Madeline Smithberg, and we were shooting him at the NJ Pack Arena. And we're hosting with the interviewer. It was like, he was like a real serious guy. So he has like his CNN flavor on. And it's not bad, but it's just a little thick. It's not flowing. It's not. And apparently, and this is still, I'm still pretty low. I'm like an associate producer. So, I'm still operating by this stay in your place thing. And as the interview is getting dead, nobody knows how to kind of revive it. What I know at the time, because it's early Kevin Hart, is he has this alter ego, Chocolate Dropper, that is like this faux rapper, and he does like this. And the moment had gotten so dead. And at that time, anybody, like if he was walking down the street, people would scream Chocolate Dropper from the crowd, and he'd like go into character. And the whole time that this interview is dead, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I should just scream Chocolate Dropper. I should just scream Chocolate Dropper. And I don't. And then afterwards, when we're going like, what would you do differently, post-mortem kind of thing, we're talking about it. And I say to Madeline, Madeline Smithberg, I go, yeah, when it was getting dead, I almost yelled Chocolate Dropper, but I figured I'd keep my mouth shut. She's, what's Chocolate Dropper? So then I pull up a bunch of clips of him like going crazy when people say it. She goes, don't you ever keep your mouth shut again.
Yeah, right. Oh, man.
Dude, like such a missed opportunity, right? Like I would have said that and we would have had a moment. It would have maybe saved the interview. So I learned to be more vocal. And I learned that my voice was valid, right? And that I'm here and I'm on this team and I'm in this space for reasons like that, right? To know this little missing slive of what's happening in his world and, that disconnect could have, yeah, I wish it would have been my first hero moment where I'm like chocolate dropper, he goes crazy, everybody's like, what happened? And I shoulda, coulda, right? But
Oh man,
just staying in my place, right? And staying
having that confidence to know, that's crucial.
That's cool.
But it's hard to learn that lesson,
especially that early. Like I'm in this place where everything is Kevin Hart. It's it's just big. I've been here 3 months now, so I'm still, I'm not set and firm in my way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you don't want to say something where you're sticking your foot in your mouth, or you think that, right? You're like, I don't want to say something where I stick my foot in my mouth and he just glares back at me. And
no, my agent says we're not doing chocolate dropper anymore.
Yeah.
And it became a thing for the next 5-10 years of his career. And I was just like, blown opportunity.
That's hard.
I'll send you some pictures from that day. It's just that kind of thing, man. Never be quiet. And I'm never, I just learned to always be vocal. Always speak my voice, my opinion. Again, something I've done, but in workspaces, you try to keep within your lane and your parameters, and I shouldn't have, and I learned that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's something a lot of times, right? Everybody's a little bit on there, walking on eggshells a little bit, and you need someone to kind of help break it up a little bit, right? So people are looking for that chop it up moment where everything gets it gets more comfortable for everybody. So you're all kind of thinking the same thing, or even if someone if they didn't even know what you were talking about, it would create a little break in the tension,
in the monotony of the
yeah, totally, right?
Yeah, but I think you're beyond that. I think you're speaking to having the confidence to be able to speak your opinion or contribute in a different way, and having everyone on the team build. Do you think within a company organization, do you think that's a cultural thing that comes from the top?
Absolutely. I think every company I worked at, good, bad, or indifferent, a lot of times that flows, whether if it's a small company, it flows from the top with the owner down, where the owner's on the ground. If it's a larger company and you have managers and middle managers, it flows from them. It's really
like to encourage that. Yeah,
I'm sorry?
That for them to encourage that truth saying. Yeah.
Bill, you have some stick in the mud, right? Like owner or something like that, who every time someone says anything, they kind of, you know what I mean? They like bring them down in a respect, right? That's not good. Then people are not going to bring up ideas, right? They're not going to, things that when they think of, they're not going to bring that stuff forward because they're going to say, oh, what if this person jumps down my throat again next time I bring it up in a meeting? So now I'm just going to be quiet, and then that accomplishes nothing. So there's no creativity, right, at that point.
And I try to be the brave leader, right? I try to instill the confidence that people that walk in with me know we're going to walk in, and we know what we're doing, and we're going to do it well, and people are going to appreciate us for it afterwards. And and I walk with my head high, man, and my whole team does. You know what I mean? And we work it out.
I remember, I think you should encourage it as a leader. Like encourage, hey, I don't want any yes people on the team.
Yeah, and I have none. Yeah, like we are really, really honest with each other, right? Because if we're not honest with each other, we're gonna get out there in the field and make a fool of ourselves, right? We're gonna be there. You weren't telling me that I had mustard on my white shirt. Now here I am. I'm sitting at the head of the table. And
why didn't you say something?
Right. It's just
best hot dog I ever ate. Yeah, though.
Condiments. If I have white on, the condiments are going on it. Like I don't even eat hot dogs if I got a white shirt. That's gonna end up here. No,
yeah. Is there, Bruce? Is there like stuff like kind of that just conventionally in your industry that had always been, I don't know, kind of always been the case, and then you just have just completely disagreed with? Is there anything like that you've dealt with? And do you have an example? I don't know, like that?
No, the biggest one, I think, I didn't go the traditional route. I didn't get out of college and intern at a film company and work my way up. I did work my way up, but I did none of there used to be this thought, right, that
a standard path.
standard path is you're going to intern, you're going to do a lot of free work until somebody sees that you're able to be paid. I don't know, I guess. Two reasons I couldn't do that. I had gotten to TV at an advanced age. I was late 30s, no, mid 30s. So, you know, so it was moving to California and working for free just wasn't in the stars. I luckily had a couple income properties at the time. And that is how, when working as a PA, when I first started as an office PA, you know, that's $250 a day, $50 a week before taxes, $1,250 gross. And I'm living in California. You can't live in Hollywood on $1,250 a week, you know. And then after taxes, who knows? But luckily, I had 2 income properties. This one right where I sit, and another income property at the time that were able to supplement that. I could work this office PA job in a really expensive city for a really low rate because I had income producing properties that would supplement.
Cash flow.
That is, without real estate, I probably don't get to here. It's the backbone of it. Because the 9 years that I'm freelancing, right, in between. So maybe I'm on a 6-month gig, it ends. Now there's 2 or 3 weeks in between before the next gig starts or somebody calls me. And so there's these little 2 and 3 week windows, which aren't huge because, you know, you can get through 2 or 3 weeks.
But they add up, right, throughout the year, right? I mean,
yes. But I've always, the whole time, I have this real estate where, there's some rental income. I'm cash flow positive. So, if it doesn't have to be ramen noodles because I got a little security from real estate.
And that's something. So you've done real estate because you're also a real estate investor.
I call myself an amateur real estate investor.
Okay,
I mean, no, you know, I don't know. I try not to toot my own horn. What happened was 03. So there's a friend, one of the guys who I used to do music with. He actually got really successful in music, right? He co-wrote an album for a really huge star. And then when he came back from that, he was like real estate all the way. He was like, real estate. He took the money he made from music and now he's investing in real estate, flipping houses. And I'm working at Blue Cross. This is the period where I'm working in middle management at Blue Cross. And he's like, Bruce, you got to get into real estate. And I can't, you know, you're in tunnel vision. I'm just going to my 9 to 5. I'm paying my bills. You can't see. You just And he, you know, shout out to him. He just, you know, you get that friend. He just was on me. He would stay on me. So now,
proximity to greatness.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I have a vacation, right? I have a staycation, right? I got a bunch of time I have to use at Blue Cross, but I have no money to go on like a trip, so I'm just gonna hang around the house. You're gonna be home for 2 weeks? He's, dude, come by the office, help me with this deal. So I'm faxing here, emailing here, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? Because I work in that environment, I have those skills. A month goes by, I go back, you know, 2 weeks is over, I help him for 2 weeks, I go back to work. He calls me, the deal closes. He calls me, he's like, hey, Bruce, come by the office. I'm like, all right. Come by the office. He hands me a check. Decent amount, right? He goes, that's for helping me the last 2 weeks. That's the processing fee. I'm like, whoa. I sent a couple emails, a couple faxes, did some. I'm like, tell me more. So now he's been beating me in the head.
Got you hooked.
and you know, again, shout out to him. That was, I guess, his way. He's like, you're gonna be home for 2 weeks. Here's how I'll entice you. And so now I'm like, okay, real estate. And at the same time, I bought my first house because I'm working at Blue Cross. And again, I'm going through the HUD, and I'm like, I saw that guy 3 times. He got $8,000. I saw that guy, maybe spoke to that guy 4 times. He got $1,700. You know, and I'm looking at the HUD, and I'm like, the processor, the appraiser,
all those fees. Yep, those fees. Anyone who's bought a house seen those fees. That's for sure.
I'm like, whoa! And here's what I'm doing. I'm comparing the amount of interaction that I had with these people to their line item
To the
pay.
number. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, man, that's not. So now I'm really in. I'm like, okay. I'm like, but I'm still working full time. So I'm like, let me find a way. What's the way I can enter without a huge time commitment?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody told me to become a real estate appraiser, which ended up being the best decision I ever made. So my entry is through an appraiser, right? I was a licensed appraiser.
Oh, no
What
kidding.
makes that a great way to enter real estate is you're the guy that confirms everybody's story, right? The realtor says it's worth this much. The bank says we can loan this much. This guy says I have this much. You're the person that's confirming everybody's story. So therefore, you learn a little bit about the mortgage side, a little bit about the sales side, and a lot about zoning and just things of the house. So now I do that for about 2 years. So now I'm kind of really well versed. I understand it. You know, if I were to come in through the real estate sales side, you only learn that side. You come in through the mortgage side, you only learn that side. Luckily, I came in to the guy that verifies both stories. So now I learned both sides.
You learned all the sides, yeah. That's
right.
awesome.
So now I just get in and I meet another guy at first. So at the time, this is 30405. It's 06. And at the time, I don't know if you guys remember, things are getting rough in real estate in 06, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the spate of foreclosures. They do the
banks closing every weekend, right? All that stuff.
Yes. But also, Obama sets up the Maha graceful exit plan, right? Because there were a bunch of people in these subprime mortgages they couldn't afford, and these ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages that they couldn't afford that were flipping 2 years later and like balloon payments, and now they're stuck. Initially, I'm just a friend comes to me and he's like, his aunt is caught up in this, right? She has this ARM mortgage that just ballooned on her. It's like ridiculously expensive, and she can't manage it. I had just been referring people to the Maha program, Graceful Exit. Hey, they'll wipe off your bad debt. They'll give you some relocation money, and you just get a fresh start. And I realized in that moment how many people were in jeopardy, but also had no clue there was a graceful exit program. So I just started, I'm a community guy. So I started telling people, it went from like friends who had an aunt or a cousin or an uncle who was in trouble coming to me because they knew I was an appraiser and I knew a little bit about real estate. And then I just started helping people. And then I moved into mortgages. I started doing a little bit of mortgage broking. And then I started doing some wholesaling. When I bought the house where I'm at in Roxbury, the street, what do they say? What's the rule? By the ugliest house on the street.
On the best street.
Yeah.
On the best street. So this is his prime Roxbury neighborhood, Jamaica Plain side, borders Jamaica Plain, 15 minutes from the airport, the whole deal, right? The ugliest house on the street. But then there was like a lot right across. There was an empty lot to be developed across. There was one more ugly house that right next to me. So I buy this one, I start fixing it up. And it spurs. So the guy buys the lot across the street and he's building there. And he pulls up one day and I probably was like in a t-shirt and jeans. I don't look like any sort of professional. I'm just sitting on my porch hanging out. And he's like looking at the lot and I'm like, are you interested in buying it? He's yeah. I'm like, oh man, there's a lot going on with the lot. He's like, he's coming to real estate. I'm like, yeah, me too. I probably don't look it, but me too. He's going down to the city tomorrow to check it out. And I tell him, I'm like, because now I'm knee deep in my appraiser. I understand zoning, all the things, right? And I go to him, I say, yeah, man, when you go down tomorrow, what you're going to find out is X, Y, and Z. He's okay. He comes back the next day. I'm still sitting on my porch. He's, hey, what's your name? He's, dude, everything you told me was going on. We should do business. Long story short, I start wholesaling for that guy, and I probably maybe do 20 deals with him, and where I just find the deal, get the P&S, and then he comes along, he buys it, and pays me a finder's fee. And then so I was wholesaling for about 3 or 4 years. That went really well, which is how I was able to, in 2011, when the opportunity came, just kind of get to LA overnight and be able to take this low paying job
Cool.
while in LA.
Wow.
So
Wholesaling, real quick, just for
Mhm.
everyone listening, wholesaling is what? You're finding the deal and then you're
finding the deal, you
passing
sign
it
it
on
up,
to someone else?
yeah, and
Before
selling. You make sure it's going to be able to be transferable because it only takes $1,000 to get a PNS, right? You make an offer, someone accepts it, you give them $1,000 on the PNS. You got to close in 45, 60 days or so. Now you have this small window where you can sell to a cash buyer who does have the funds, who doesn't have to go to a tabletop bank, and then he can buy it cash. You sell it to him, your $1,000 plus whatever premium, enough for him to still make money, you to make something. And this
so
guy
you can make a quick, I mean,
20,
I
30,
don't know.
40, 50 grand, depending
Yeah,
on
depending on what the price is you're getting for
what
them,
the
right? Like
headroom
it's all,
in the deal
whatever the
is.
deal
If
is.
you're
For really not doing,
doing
I
a
mean,
lot, right?
you're not developing the property, you're not doing it, you're not trying to rent it out, et
You
cetera,
are
et cetera.
finding the deal on the left
Yep.
side and selling it to the guy on the right
You're the
side who
connector.
has the means. Yes.
Got it. Yeah. Cool.
hmm So I did that with him, I don't know, 20, 30, like I lost count. We were just rolling. And then one day he comes to me and he's just, dude, he's, I give you good money for finding me deals, but maybe you should hold that and come in with me on the deal from the top. And like, instead of just a finder's fee, take your finder's fee money from the last one, invest it in this,
Roll
and
it,
then
yeah.
roll it, get the big nut together. That
Cool.
didn't happen. Again, shout out to Ronnie. It didn't end up working out, but it did change my mindset, right? Because I
And was
found
this person more of a flipper, or would they buy and fix up and sell,
he would develop
or hold on to? I should say that's
he,
what I meant.
no, not hold. He would buy and then sell them. But
Okay.
he developed them really high end, really nicely. Corey and the whole deal. He'd go really high end and then sell them and make a pretty penny. We never got that going, but it did then spur me to say, you know what, he's right. Rather than, because at that time I had the two that were just rentals, and I was like, yeah, maybe I need to buy, hold, and sell, flip, and I started doing that a little, but I'm just stuck because of how much it subsidized my television career. I bought one recently in Dedham that the initial intention was to flip, but now I'm like, no, I'm probably going to keep it. Like, just because I believe in residual passive income, right?
Yeah, give you the cash flow, right?
Give me the cash flow, right? Any given month, I got 3 or 6 units worth of rent that is meant, you got to pay your mortgage, but if ever the emergency, you have cash flow to work something out. If you need a short-term loan and pay your mortgage a week late, that's whatever, right? But the cash flow is important for me.
Yeah, that's like me personally, right? When people say, "Oh, someone's wealthy," I don't even have a number. My thing is, you have either from your assets, whether it be real estate, stocks, whatever it might be, right? There's tons of ways to create cash flow, but does that cash flow enough to cover your existence, right? Your means, like how you want to live your life, whatever that is. You can be very simple, it can be very extravagant, but a wealthy person to me is someone who has that type of passive, has enough assets and passive income or generates enough income to then cover their expenses. That to me is like kind of my definition of wealth in terms of money, right? I mean, obviously, like you want to be healthy, you want to have a great family, things like that. That's a different set of wealth in my mind. Just as important, but
maybe more
when
important because you can't spend
exactly,
it if you sit.
Yeah. But that in terms of money, that's like my definition. What do you think? Like, what's your definition of wealth? Like, what is your?
I think to your point, the life things are the most important, right? Health, sanity, peace of mind. But if we're talking specifically financial, it's that, right? The ability to have enough to cover your nut, like you said, and then to breathing room, right? That I don't need. I would like yacht money, but I don't have to have yacht money to be happy. If I can function, if I can, do the things that make me happy, and I have the means to, if there is something extravagant I want to do, I know that on the first I have X amount coming in, and if there's something that's such a prospecting thing. If there's the sure bet, the sure win, you have some liquidity. And even, cash flow positive, right? So every month there's a little liquidity, right? That's from having renters and having a mortgage from '03 and '06 and being what rents are today, right? So there's that. It's just the security to be able to do the things you want to do, invest in the things you want to invest in, and not have to sacrifice cereal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can't have steaks this week because I'm trying to invest in this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that financial freedom. You know what I mean? It's like you hear that people say that money just a tool. You know what I mean? It's not everything, but it does.
It affords
helps with your improve your decision making on things, because it's something that now that you don't, whether you realize it or not, it does dictate things that you have to do in life. There's no way around it. So it's nice to not have that dictate your thinking, not have that dictate your decision making.
That overbearing, how am I going to pay the lights? How am I going to feed the kids? How am I going to pay the car note? I can get to a place where those aren't present in my mind, like you said, all day and just kind of buzzing in. Then that's a good place to be, because it gives you the clarity and the space to think of the next thing to get you further along, to find the next investment, to find the next opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bruce, how old were you when you first started buying real estate?
29.
Okay.
I was just about to turn 30.
Okay. So, yeah, I think just listening to you both talk a lot, I think I'm just bringing it back to, if you're listening right now, or if you have children or if you have young adults, I think we've talked about a lot on the show is the value of starting early, because you're both talking about, like, well, Bill, you said, like, wealthy person has enough money coming in to support their lifestyle, right? Passive money coming in, maybe.
Right.
As you get older and older, your expenses only get more expensive, especially if you have a family.
Right.
You choose to have a family. So I think starting young, making that money and putting it away as best you can, whether that's, in stocks, actively investing it, setting those things up from the baseline, when you're young, and then taking advantage of compounding with it works both in real estate and stock investing.
Yeah. I've been so scared of stocks. Like I have buddies that do well in stocks.
Why is that? Why? I think a lot of people have that. Why?
Again, maybe it goes back to my tactical thing, right? I like things I can touch, right?
Okay.
Things like a building, I can see it, I can touch it, I can make it make me money.
So let me ask you this, Bruce. Does Amazon come to your house?
Yes. Every day.
So you touch those packages, right?
Every day. Look,
do you look things up on Google?
Yeah.
Do you use Instagram?
Yeah.
Do you?
I know there's an Amazon package somewhere. Absolutely.
All right. So that's what I'm going to say to you, right? These companies, okay, that you know what I mean? You're touching them every day. I know you might not think it, but these are things that every day, do you go to BJ's? Do you go to Costco? These are all public companies, right? These are companies that by investing in them, you can partake in the earnings of those companies, right? So as those earnings increase, you're able to partake in, in the profits of that company by investing.
Go ahead. No, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it's a little different than, like you said, maybe ripping apart a bathroom, putting it together and stuff like that. But what's nice about them is that you don't have to actually partake. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to meet with the contractor, right? Like, you just kind of...
you don't have to sit on them.
Which I have to do today. I got to go meet with 2 contractors. But I think the fear for me with stocks is I could be asleep, right? I could have gone to sleep at 10 o'clock last night. And in the hours that I was sleeping, with beyond my control, everything could be gone by morning, right? The house can't be gone by morning outside of fire. If you're not paying your mortgage, that's coming down, and you need to make it. But to disappear overnight has to be a fire. Other than that, and I think that's just my fear, to wake up one morning.
I think it's intimidating for a lot of people. Bill, you're about to say something. I want to hear it.
Well, I always tell my clients I don't make any guarantees on anything. The one thing I guarantee is your account will never go to zero. And if it does, we are in a forget your house, forget everything.
Everything's over, right?
You better have ammunition and you know what I mean, and something, because that's where we're at. Yeah, you're not. You need, I don't know, maybe some, I don't even know what you need, but yeah, ammo. That's the most important thing. I was going to say maybe some gold so you can trade, but no, you need ammo. Let's face it, because we're going to be at a Mad Max situation. Because I say that I have people, I've been working through, I worked through the financial crisis, I've worked through COVID, I've worked through, and I've had conversations with people and I'm dealing with their life savings, right? And they're looking at me and they say, Bill, what if it goes to zero? What if I lose everything? And that's the one thing I'm telling people is that, listen, I can't make any guarantees. I don't know when this is going to recover. I don't know when this is going to come back up. When I'm going to get you back to par again. But the one guarantee I have is that it's not going to zero. You know what I mean? We're going to be in companies that, and if companies that are going to go to zero, we're going to get you out of it and put you into something else where the future does look bright well before it goes to zero. So that's the thing is I hear that fear. Like what you said is so common, and I hear that all the time. And and it's funny because I always say I can't make guarantees on returns. I can't make guarantees on really anything. I kind of know generally, right, where people are going to be, but I can't tell you exactly where you're going to be. But that's the one guarantee I make. I tell all my clients, I go, you're never going to, you're never going to lose all your money. That's, you know what I mean? There's no chance that that's going to happen. So it's funny,
my stance is softening, right? Because again, and I think with the proximity thing, right, there's another piece, not just greatness, but proximity to ambition, man. Be around people that are also trying to move forward, that are also trying to do more, because then in that mix you guys will figure something else out new, right? So a friend of mine, when Bitcoin was becoming a thing, again, he's just Bruce, Bitcoin. I'm like, and again, just out of pure fatigue, right? Just because he keeps saying it. He's like, did you get Bitcoin? I'm like, no, dude. I'm like, all right. One day, I'm like, you know what? Let me buy a couple $100 of Bitcoin. And I call him, like, yeah, I bought the Bitcoin. I better not lose my money. That was when it was 40 grand. I wish I bought so much more now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It was 40 grand a coin. I literally just because this guy wouldn't stop. And I was like, all right, dude, I trust your opinion. Yes, I'm going to. And lesson learned. And now I'm like, okay, you were right. Like, he was,
sure.
Bill's point. It's like, he was like, yeah, it won't go to zero. Maybe it'll dip. But it's going to climb and climb. Here we are.
Yeah. No, I know. It's funny with all those cryptocurrencies, I think too, like in the US, and even myself, I mean, I'm very, very little exposure to it, but the way someone best described it is like in the US, our currency, I mean, right now obviously has been, I don't even want to say shaky, but right, we've taken a little hit over the past 6 to 8 months.
Real value. Yeah.
Yeah. But, for the longest time, we were the world reserve currency. I mean, we still are, still very safe and things along those lines. But one of the reasons why cryptocurrencies has taken off is that, we're not considering all these other countries.
Right.
And they have had so much volatility risk with their current currencies, right? They've had leaders switch over who all of a sudden, come out with a new bill and stuff like that. And then it's worthless 12 years later when they get removed, sometimes very forcibly, right, from there. And so these other countries have seen this so much. I mean, I've heard of even parts of Asian stuff, different countries where people would actually carry gold like around almost as a necklace, and they would rip off pieces to pay for things. Whereas, these cryptocurrencies now, it at least gives them some store of value, right? And accessible, you know what I mean? And it takes it everywhere. So that's why it's taken off as much as it has. US, we're a little slower to adapt to it because what if these current, you know what I mean? What if it just goes away? Because it could potentially. There's no backing to it, so to speak.
Right.
The backing is just the belief, that it will. You know what I mean? Like the belief that it's can't be cracked in terms of the algorithm, so the security there, and then the fact that it can be brought into another currency right away and converted to those whatever that
Yeah.
currency might be. If it's US dollars, it's US dollars. You know, if it's
But then there's the
euros or
whole
whatever it
thing
might be.
about the mystery guy who's holding so much that if he ever came out, if the guy
Satoshi
knew the whole
Nakamoto.
thing,
Yeah, that I mean
Satoshi.
what is that? Is that folklore more, you think, or that? Because
There's a
that's
lot
one of the
there.
big
This is
things
a
about
deep
it.
dive, you guys.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
a
we gotta stay away
bigger
from this.
conversation.
Yeah.
This is big,
Yeah.
but also intangible, Bruce. So like you talked about stocks. I think there's a lot, and it's funny. I think a lot of people are all about crypto because it's such big returns. But there are a lot of stocks who are doing just as well, if not better. And I'm not to say you should be investing in single stocks. I think if you don't know what you're doing, it's probably a risky thing. That's why I believe in what we do at Fox Hill Wealth Management so much. But quick plug. But I gotta promote your own book. I think I think stocks are a great way to do it, and also both intangible. Like you can't go touch it, but it's real. So
it is real. But
there's a lot there.
There's that block. That's the block I got across.
Coming back to it,
the intangible versus if I buy a car and I decide I don't want the car anymore, I can go sell the car.
Good luck. Yeah, but you're not going to get your money back.
Yeah, not all of it, right? Well, hopefully I got enough use out of it. But no, you're right. I introduced you guys to my buddy who has also been pounding me in the head about stocks. He's like, it's just like, yeah, dude, you got to get involved. I'm like,
yeah.
I think I'm just stuck with my old dad's mentality of, I can see it, I can touch it.
I don't think you're alone. I think there's a lot of people who from 08, who still haven't gotten in. They're like, they're afraid. So that's something we talk about a lot. I know we're coming up on the hour here, so we might have to have you back again. No, but what's just to close out, one quick question, and I was just thinking, what would you tell yourself, like knowing what you know now? And what we talked through the whole episode of all the things you've done, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? Or even younger?
Yeah.
What
would you tell 16-year-old Bruce?
Get it together, man. Do all these things. I could have been. Yeah, get it. Excuse me.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
That's what I look back and I think. But anyway, yeah.
Like I said, you asked when I got into real estate. I got in at 29. I should have got in at 21 when my buddy, who had come back from writing this album, is dude. I think what I would tell my younger self is to, like us all, focus more, but just the things, the 70, this was before the 70% rule, right? So with the things were rolling around in my head that I wanted to do, that I knew I could do, that I needed to get to doing, right? And there was some trepidation. There was me doubting myself, all the things. And then I just got to a place. That's what I would tell myself. Don't doubt it. I doubt, and that's probably the wrong word. I didn't doubt myself. I just was too careful early.
Just go for it early.
Yeah, rather than jumping right in and going right at it, right?
25-year-old me, 21-year-old me would have never moved to LA in a 7-day window. You know what I mean? An 11-day window. Like if you would have called 20, and I was an adventurous guy. I'm like, but just that kind of stoic. That's from my dad. My dad's a really pragmatic, stoic guy. He just, so that part of me would always get in the front of something ready to jump out of a helicopter and jump out of a plane with a parachute on. And I would have gotten past that sooner, right? A lot of things. Instead of buying my first house at 29, I maybe would have bought it at 22 or 23. Instead of moving to LA in my mid-30s, I would have gone in my late 20s. You know what I mean? Just all the things.
So just go all in and take bigger bets on yourself earlier.
Yes, bigger bets on yourself, right?
Cool.
The person in there usually isn't lying to you, right? The voice in there,
follow your gut.
Unless you're going through a lot, usually isn't lying to you, right? They've been with you the whole ride. That voice has been there. It knows what you're capable of. It knows what you're not capable of. I think one of my best, the thing I think helps me along a lot is I know who I'm not as much as I know who I am. You know what I mean? I'm really clear on who I am, and I'm really clear on who I'm not. I'm clear on the things I'm good at, and I'm clear on the things that I'm not good at. And if I'm not good at it and it's needed, I try to improve it inch by inch, day by day, month by month, whatever I can apply to it. But I think that gives me a good grounded place to know when I should jump out the plane and when I shouldn't, is because I know who I am and I know who I'm not.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a perfect spot to end it right there.
All right, thanks. Yeah, man. I love it, man. It's funny. You guys made me a star in my family. My big cousin passed last.
Sorry about
guy,
that.
and it was. I've been in the days, man. This is the guy. I'm the older brother in my family, so this is my first cousin who was effectively my older brother, man. Like I tell people all the time, man, you know, things you admire about me, I was probably either imitating him or my dad. You know what I mean? So rest in peace, Brian Stevens, my big cousin. And, you know, just I was in a crazy place last week, all days out. That's why I didn't realize. I was like, oh, wow, this is the morning of the funeral. But then I walk into the repast, right? And all my little cousins, all my cousins who are like under 30, under 25, they're like, Bruce was on a podcast. And all my aunts and stuff are like, a podcast? What? Like, dude, I've been doing TV for the last 15, 20 years. They've never really cared too much about that. I was on a podcast. All the 28 and under crowd of my family went bananas. They're like,
amazing.
He was on a podcast. I'm like, okay, I guess podcast
that's awesome.
is a thing for you guys. Yeah.
That's
man, it was
awesome.
Great,
that's
man.
so
I love
cool to
hanging
hear.
out with you guys. It was great.
Always a pleasure having
awesome,
you on the show. Yeah, and everyone can reach out to you at Honor Rebel Media.
Media on all.
We'll plug that. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything. Instagram, TikTok, the whole deal. Everything's on Rebel Media.
Awesome. We're gonna tag you as a collaborator, so make sure you accept that.
Please do. Let me plug a couple projects coming up. What is the Boston Globe doc? The Boston Globe Film Festival. A doc I co-produced, Cathedrals, is going to be in that October 26th. Nice. And I got a couple other projects coming up, man. Some real fun ones I can't talk about yet, but I'll send them to you when I can talk about them.
All right, yeah, we'll announce it when it's time.
Thanks, man.
Awesome, Bruce. Always a pleasure, man. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. You guys have a good one.
All right, you too.
Later.
Bye, guys.